old Tim to gain another yard. You blitz all night!
That's right, everyone. This is Tim of the Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. We're going to blitz all night. You want to know why? Because we got the Winker. We got Wink coming in here, bringing that attacking style system, bringing in that attacking style defense. And that's what I want to talk about briefly today. And I also want to talk about the fact we got the next 2 days of OTAs coming up. And we got a few other things we want to chat about. But I also want to talk about the Giants' strengths. Now, I keep seeing repeatedly, and this is kind of the reason why I want to do this video. I keep seeing repeatedly that the Giants' defensive line is going to be the strength of this team. And I think to myself, not really. I don't think that's going to be the strength of this team because of the fact that you need to take into some consideration some things. The Giants are going to be running a 3-4 attacking style defense. Back going to the days of your 1986 when you had Carson's, Banks, Taylor, and Reasons. You're going to go back to that direction, hopefully. Where you also had a stout defensive line, where you had Leonard Marshall, George Martin, and Jim Burt anchoring that line. So your presence up front needs to be strong. Your presence in your front three needs to be there. Now, if you take a look at the Giants line, I just want to dispel some misconceptions. A lot of the Giants that people are talking about being on the defensive line, being on that front three, they're not going to be there. They're not going to be. They may rotationally move in and out of there, but technically, they're not going to be part of that line. Your defensive line right now, if you take a look, you really only have true two defensive ends on your roster. And that is, again, Ryder Anderson, who's the rookie out of Indiana, and Jalen Holmes, the former product, of course, out of Ohio State, the 5-year pro, 6'5", 283 pounds. And then you look at your defensive line. You got DJ Davidson, who's the rookie out of Arizona. He's a kid I think you need to watch. And he's 24 years old coming out of college, 6'3", 327 pounds. I think he's going to be an interesting cog. But then you also have Ellis and Hilton, Dexter Lawrence, Moa. You have Leonard Williams. You have Justin Ellis. And then, those are your guys. Those are your front three. Now, the reason why I bring this up, because if you go back to the days of yore, like I've said before, you have on that line, you have what they refers to as a nose tackle, the guy that plugs the middle. And then you have two defensive ends. Now, right now, if you take a look at the Giants' strength, the pass rush to me is going to be coming directly from the linebacking core. And you're going to say, well, Tim, you have other players that you haven't even mentioned that are going to be defensive ends. Well, no, not really. Because in a 3-4 system, bringing in someone like Ezio Ojulari at 6'3", 240 pounds, he's a little undersized to man the edge. So he's probably going to be an outside linebacker. Same with Quincy Roche, 6'3", 245, little undersized to man the edge. Again, he is going to probably be a linebacker. He's going to be, and actually, these guys are already listed as linebackers. You got Smith, who's 6'7", 245, out of Northern Iowa, who was injured most of last season. He is listed as a linebacker. I can't wait to see a 6'7" linebacker. And then you have Ward, who you just signed not too long ago. He is listed as a linebacker, but he could be probably a rotational defensive end at 6'5", 297. Then you have the venerable O'Shane Zimenez, or O'Shane, can you see? We're going to see his ass off the roster. Because you know what? The 4th-year pro out of Old Dominion, 6'4", 254 pounds. He's not going to make the team. He's not going to be there. And then you also take a look at the likes of our old buddy, Kayvon Thibodeaux. Kayvon Thibodeaux is going to be listed, and already is listed, as, drumroll please, a linebacker. So these are the guys that a lot of people are saying, well, they're going to be defensive ends. In the Wink's 3-4 system, no. These guys are going to be stand-up outside linebackers. Because not only are they going to need to generate a pass rush for multiple positions, they are also going to need to be helpful, or even more than helpful, to maintain the edge. We've talked about this ad nauseum, even going back to last year. Having a good run-playing defensive end is perfect, because if you have the likes of a Osa Umenyiora or even a Justin Tuck, that's great, but you still need, if you're running a 3-4, you still need a linebacker who can play the run on the outside. Back in the day, like I say, if you're going back to 86, we had Carl Banks and Lawrence Taylor, who were able to help contain the edge and hold it. That was one of our biggest problems last year. And I said this a million times going back to that preseason game against Cleveland. It showed the league the way. It was off tackle left, off tackle right, busted up the gut. That's how you attacked the Giants last year. Now, with the wink system, what I think what's going to happen is you're going to have the likes of Ezio Jalari and Kayvon Thibodeaux and even Quincy Roche stand, in the stand-up outside left or linebacker position, helping to hold the edge because they have the speed and they have the power and they have the ability to hold their assignments. And I think a forgotten figure out of all of this, and someone that if he gets out of the doghouse with how he got into the doghouse, is going to be the likes of Carter Coughlin. Carter Coughlin, to me, he has limited ability in reference to maybe attacking the pass rush, being pass rushing linebacker, but he has the speed and the wherewithal, and he showed it now. It's funny, going back 2 years, he showed it again in that Seattle game, that he understands and he knew his assignment and he understood how to maintain his assignment and hold his edge, which limited Russell Wilson. And I think that's what we need to look at. Now, the good thing is I think we're finally going to get rid of the likes of Cam Brown, probably get rid of TJ Brunson. I feel bad because I think Nico is going to be gone. But I think we've drafted and we have enough athletic linebackers who are athletic enough to somewhat rush but still have the ability to maintain their assignment and hold their edge, which will allow us to play the 3-4 attacking style defense. Now, the good thing is with the likes of Ezio Jalari and Kayvon Thibodeaux, you have 2 or 3 linebackers who will have a pass rushing presence and will be able to go and get the quarterback, not only with their hand in the dirt, but from the stand-up outside linebacker position. And I would guarantee you that most of these guys are going to play maybe 67% of their snaps via the outside linebacker position. So if anyone asks me what the true strength of this Giant defense is going to be, it's going to be weird to say because we haven't seen it in years. It potentially could be the linebacking core. Because you have Blake Martinez hopefully coming back. You have McFadden, who he could potentially be a fine for the Giants. You have Tay Crowder. Tay Crowder to me has always been an undersized inside linebacker, and he's a key on a contender. He is maybe your 6th or 7th linebacker at best. On a team like the Giants, he was probably their 2nd best linebacker. So you hope, not that you want to knock the kid, but you hope he's going to drop down the line, to the depth chart to the 6th or 7th place on the depth chart in reference to linebackers. But I think the Giants are athletic enough now. And I'm curious to see what Darren Beavers does as well. Because I think, like I said, the pick of Beavers and McFadden could really lend itself to helping the Giants control that linebacking position. And now I laugh, though, because I'm still somewhat concerned about the defensive line. Because Dexter Lawrence is not a true nose tackle. You have Leonard Williams, who is not a true defensive end. And if you take a look at that's a little concerning because then you have Moa, who is probably a little undersized to play the nose tackle at 6'3", 296 pounds. You have to hope that someone, like I said, that something like Hinton, from Michigan, the rookie out of Michigan, the undrafted free agent, he could do something. Ellis, who came over he's 6'2", 334 at 9. He's 31 years old. He is not going to be a long time solution there. He may not even be a stopgap solution. And then you hope someone like DJ Davidson can also fulfill that role. The good news is you can usually find a quality defensive tackle later in the draft or even free agency. The Giants have proven that over the years. But like I said, I don't think that the strength of this team is the defensive ends. I think it's going to be the linebackers. And I think you do have to be somewhat concerned that you are going to have some guys that are either undersized or playing out of position in reference to being in those defensive line positions. So it's gonna be very curious to see what the Giants do and see what the Giants can get done. So I'm just kind of curious. I'm kind of interested. I'm kind of excited. Like I said, I'm always a defensive guy. I'm always an attacking style guy. So you gotta kind of go from there. Also want to just mention, of course, that our old buddy Kadarius Toney, evidently he had a minor knee surgery, which no one knew about. Which means, but he should be back for training camp. They're saying that he was just cleaning out his knee. It was a scope. Even if it was like a meniscus tear or a mid meniscus tear, that'll take, like 4 to 6 weeks to heal. And they do that arthroscopically. Even back in my day, they did it arthroscopically. I have the 3 pinholes, I should say 3 pin scars around my knee where they actually arthroscopically went in and repaired my meniscus, my mid meniscus as well. So I'm not too worried about that. I just find it interesting that he's also coming off another injury. Oh, we just have to, like I said, we just got to keep up hope, and we just got to kind of wait and see what happens here. And I'm hoping, like I said, you got to hope that he's better. He's got to hope that he's doing well. You got to hope that he can find his role and his position on the team. Because like I said, everyone talks about how wonderful he is right now. So we just got to kind of wait and see what happens. Kind of, we're just going to kind of go from there. The Giants, like I mentioned, have the 2 more days of OTAs, and they're going to be off for a little bit. Back in June is when we're going to start hitting the mandatory mini camps, because that's going to be more interesting. It's going to be a little bit more exciting news. We're going to try to do a stream this week. I don't know when. I'll let everyone know a little bit ahead of time. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, if you could subscribe, if you ring that bell, it means that'd be awesome.